As we all know, from the very beginning, the teaching of the Catholic Church, founded on her understanding of her Lord's own witness to the sacredness of human life, that the killing of an unborn child is always intrinsically evil and can never be justified. If those who perform an abortion and those who cooperate willingly in the action are fully aware of the objective evil of what they do, they are guilty of grave sin, and thereby separate themselves from God's grace. This is the constant received teaching of the Church. Now that the question has been raised as to whether the denial of Holy Communion to some Catholics in political life is necessary because of their public support for abortion on demand.
Advenience was addressed directly to Catholics and called Christians to action, emphasizing local church work for social justice in relation to urbanization and the environment. In particular, Pope Paul points to flagrant inequalities. While some regions are heavily industrialized, others are still at the agricultural stage. While some countries enjoy prosperity, others are struggling against starvation. While some peoples have a high standard of culture, others are still engaged in eliminating illiteracy. From all sides, there rises a yearning for more justice and a desire for better guaranteed peace. The Pope's message is that Christians must seek just solutions to these challenges in the light of the Gospels, which have remained as relevant today as when they were written. It is up to Christian communities to discern the options and commitments which are called in for in order to bring about the social, political, and economic changes seen in many cases. The rich become richer, and the poor becomes poorer. As the world develops itself, the boundary between rich and poor people gets larger. Deny it or not, most of the rich people don't share the blessings that they receive from God. For instance, rich people, as they develop, their back code gets higher. In 1967, Pope Paul VI issued the encyclical letter Populorum Progression, or On Development of People. It was here that the Pope coined the phrase, development is another term for peace. But does this develop really promote peace? The Pope cried sinful structures that promote inequality and stifles the fight of poor individuals and nations for full human development. Therefore, the Church is challenging us to develop ourselves with fair trade relationships. Peace cannot be seen simply as the absence of war. It must be built daily, and it must strive towards a more perfect justice among human beings. Just like what Lagdameo said, development must be seen in terms of food on the table of the poor, secure employment for the millions here in the country, low-cost medicine for the families of workers, scholarship for the poorest, and decent home for squatters and slum dwellers. It explains that yes, we need to improve. We need to develop, but as we go higher, we also need to help others to develop as well.
In the very first chapter of the Bible, God instructs the representatives of the human race, Adam and Eve, to fill the earth and subdue it. Genesis 1 verse 28. Because we all live on the same planet and are ultimately dependent on the natural fruits of the earth for life support, everyone has a stake in how elements of nature and natural systems are used and managed. When Pope John Paul II issued his first social encyclical letter, Redemptor Hominis, or the Redeemer of Mankind in 1979, he reiterates the importance of human rights as the fundamental principle for all programs, systems, and regimes. He also called for a redirection of investments for armaments into investments for food at the service of life and need for the greater emphasis for the take care of the environment. Genesis 1 establishes that although both people and nature are created works of God and under God's authority, God has given people dominion over nature. God created people in His own image as His representatives on earth. Because we are under God's authority in all things, we are to do God's will when exercising our dominion over nature. In Genesis 1 verse 28, God tells people to subdue nature, but subdue does not mean abuse, just as the phrase rule over. That is what the church teaching trying to tell us, that we are accountable and responsible to God's creation because we are the stewards of His creation. Stewardship means we are peace with the fact that I'm not someone else. I'm me, and God lovingly has given me the skills and the job and the money I need for now. God assigns everything in life. It's really submission to God when we are content with our job, our income, and all our material things. Sometimes we get all bent out of shape trying to keep and defend what we think is ours. People ruin their lives over financial rights, inheritance squabbles, and suing people they think cheated them. But God is calling us to think different, to be stewards, to just faithfully manage what God gives us.